Hey, Outdoor Legal Warriors, if you're pulled over for a DUI, there's certain paperwork that you should get, and there's certain paperwork that sometimes is missing, and I want to go through what you should expect to have so you don't mess anything up. If you're interested in this area of the law, stay tuned. This is the video for you. My name is Lance Fryrear. I'm a defense attorney in Linwood, Washington. My law firm's been defending people charged with crimes all throughout Washington State for more than 25 years, and I'm putting out these videos to help educate the public. So if you find this useful, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it, more people get the help they need. Now I'm just going to jump right into it. As many of you may know, I'm a practicing attorney, and for my law firm, I handle quite a bit, if not all, of the people that need help over the weekend. And I don't have to. I have a large firm, but I'm sort of, built to help people, and I sort of get something out of that personally and professionally. And what keeps happening lately is people get arrested for a DUI, and that's a terrible thing that happens, but oftentimes these police officers just aren't giving the people that are calling us all the paperwork they need to handle the situation properly. So I want to go over what we should expect if we get pulled over for a DUI, whether we get booked into custody or not. We should be given certain paperwork when we get released. So let's get into it. A DUI typically is going to have a breath test that gets offered to us. And the breath test is different from the one on the road, the portable breath test. That's optional. You don't have to do that. You never have to do a breath test, but there's no negative consequence for not doing the handheld test on the road. But I'm talking about the breath test at a police station or somewhere similar, right? Sometimes, if you're in a state patrol in King County, we might have a trailer they take you to, and they might take you to one or more police stations, depending on if the breath test machine is working. But the breath test machine is called the Draeger, and it's going to have a big old tube attached to it. They're going to put a mouthpiece on it, and you're going to blow into it more than once. Now, when we're done with that breath test, they're supposed to give you a copy of the readout. What were the actual results? And if they don't give you a copy of it, if you've watched this ahead of time and you've got to, let's say you did get pulled over, ask for a copy of it if they don't give it to you, because we need that. We need to know what it says so we know what steps to take next. Additionally, that breath test ticket that gets printed out that says what the results are, it's going to have what the machine number is. It's called, the instrument number. It's going to show what a mouth check was. And most importantly, it's going to show what the results are, so we know what to expect regarding your license. So that's number one. They're supposed to give you a breath test ticket. And 80% of the time we'll get that, 20% of the time we don't. Number two, and this is the thing that can hurt the driver the most, is they're supposed to give you a request for DUI hearing form. And sometimes they give it to you when they're not supposed to, and that makes it even more confusing. So let me explain. In Washington State, if you're an adult, 21 or over, and you blow .08 or higher on a breath test, or you refuse a breath test, now there's going to be an action against your license by the Department of Licensing. The police officer is going to send a notice in to the Department of Licensing saying, hey, this driver blew 08 or higher, or this driver refused a breath test. And if that happens, the driver only has 7 days from the date of the breath test or the refusal to request a hearing to contest a suspension of their license based upon that action. And how do you get told you have those 7 days? Well, they give you this form that says request for DUI hearing. But I just had another call this weekend where they did not give the person that form for request for DUI hearing. This person has no idea. They never had a DUI in the past. Thankfully, they were diligent, and they called our office so we could explain what they needed to do. But because they weren't given the form, they didn't know about the 7 days. If they didn't call us, they would lose their ability to request a hearing just based upon the officer's mistake. Now, I do know that someone in my firm has fought hard for a hearing once before here. One of my attorneys, at least maybe a couple have, and sometimes we've been able to get one back. But the bottom line is, if you're watching this, know that if you blow over the limit or you refuse, you're supposed to get a form to request a DUI hearing. What if you don't? What if you're watching this video and didn't get the form? Well, you can do two things. One, you can log in just to the General Department of Licensing website, www.dol.wa.gov, and you can get the form To request a DUI hearing, you can print it off, you can mail it, it needs to be postmarked within 7 days. Remember, there's a $375 fee no matter how you request the hearing. Or you can log into your License Express account. Now, I just walked someone through this weekend myself. I was using my own License Express account. So License Express for Washington State is going to have your vehicles where you sort of renew your tabs. It's going to have your license. So if you log in, you need to sort of page down to where you see your name. You're going to click on that. And then there's no hyperlinks that pop up, obviously, for this. You sort of have to page down until you see other actions. And once you see other actions, you'll see a hyperlink that says Request DUI Hearing. Now we need to click that, and then we start to fill out the stuff about your hearing. Some things you're not going to have answers to, like citation number. You may not have a citation yet. Just, click no. The main thing they need is the general date of when this happened and your information so they can pair it up with the form that the officer sends in. So that's a really bad one. And then what happens when they give it to you when you're not supposed to have it? What if you blew an 06, right? And therefore you weren't 08? And they give you the form anyway because the officers, they just don't understand, right? They don't get it. The ones that get it wrong just don't get why they're doing it. And in those cases, you might send in the $375 even though you have no reason to. So you should check with an attorney. We're going to tell you whether we think you need to send it in or not based upon being under the limit, because we have seen a case in recent history where there was one breath test 08, one breath test 07. So by law, that's 07. It should not carry a suspension. And in that case, the person did not send in the request. The officer erroneously sent in the suspension notice. And because there's just the robots at the Department of License, they suspended the person illegally. Yet they never requested a hearing because they just, sort of didn't think about it. And at that point, now you got attorneys trying to go behind the scenes to supervisors and things and trying to get them to do the right thing, to try to undo the mistakes that happened. So it's not black and white, but that form's really important and it constantly gets missed. So let's say that you either don't get offered a breath test or you refuse a breath test and now they draw your blood. So in this state, in Washington State, they can draw your blood pretty easily if they do a search warrant. So if they end up drawing your blood, they need to give you a return on search warrant for your blood. So be asking for that. Anytime the government seizes something by a search warrant, they have to give a return. And in this case, they didn't take your cell phone or your computer, they took your blood. And so they're supposed to give you a return on that. And that's going to have some information that us attorneys may need to try to help your case. So that's a form that's important that you get in the rare situation where you do have your blood drawn. And it'll pretty much always happen if they suspect marijuana or other types of drugs. And then finally, if it's a city case, and as you know, if you watch this channel, city police officers can file their DUIs directly into court. County officers just make arrests. They don't actually start the real charge. It's a city case. The real important paperwork you're going to get is a citation. Okay, it's an 8x11 piece of paper. It's really hard to read. I've been looking at them for years since they changed the forms, and my eyes don't go in the right place automatically. But I do know if you get that citation for DUI, look in the upper left-hand corner. It's going to tell you if you have a court date and a court time. Out of all this stuff on there, it's going to give you a court date and a court time, and that's something you can't miss. So get a hold of an attorney, because a local attorney, at least someone who does a lot of cases, is going to know maybe some specifics about your particular situation just from experience. But look at that citation to see if there's a date or time. If there's not, and oftentimes there's not, you're going to, number one, reach out to an attorney. Number two, if you can't find someone, reach out to the court to find out, hey, here's my case number. There's going to be a case number on there. If it's 2025, it usually starts with 5A. If it's 2026, it'll probably start with 6A. And then they're going to let you know what you need to do. And if you don't have a citation, don't freak out. It probably means it's a county case and you're not cited yet. You're only arrested. And so what doesn't happen anymore? Well, they don't keep your driver's license. They used to punch hole in your driver's license. They don't do that anymore. And what happens if they don't give you your materials back? They don't give you back your key or your driver's license once you get released from jail or let go. It's usually just a mistake. Get a hold of the police department and ask them. More often than not, they're going to find it, but they don't get to keep that stuff. So the key points, right? We need that breath test ticket. that request for DUI hearing is really important. There may be a return on a search warrant, and finally look out for that citation because we don't want you missing a court date. So those are the documents I want you to know about should you have been pulled over for a DUI. Might be some I missed. Mileage may vary based upon the court, but always if you get a hold of an experienced attorney, they're going to tell you what you should do. So I hope you found that useful. If so, please like and please subscribe. More people get to see it. More people get the help they need. More importantly, if you have a criminal matter in Washington State, feel free to reach out to my firm. If we get on board, we'll listen to what happened, we'll identify a way forward, and we will be there for you. Thank you.